Alright, but enough talking. Let's get to see how we can use Python actually. To that end, I've prepared a small little demo which I've placed here on my disk. It's a little bit potentially different situation for yours, guys. I have two partitions, one is D, one is C. Basically these partitions are where all the files are at, and for me in D /demo right here is the folder where I want to get. So the first step, if you want to fiddle with Python, is to look for Anaconda prompt, assuming you installed Anaconda, which you most likely did, because there is a walkthrough in Moodle that you should follow. Alright, and I'm assuming you're on Windows. If you're on Linux, it can't be too many of you, and I can show you how to deal with everything on that operating system individually. Alright, so what I want to do is get into this folder. So you see I have a path here of where I am at currently within this Anaconda prompt. We should also pin it to the taskbar. For me it was already pinned, but assuming it wasn't, this would be the next step to deal with. And you should also do one little thing, just to run it as administrator in often, but you can avoid doing that every time by following what I'm just doing right now. You basically just have to tick this particular box. Play this video slow and you'll get there. Alright, anyway, so I'm opening the Anaconda shell. This comes shipped with the Anaconda distribution, Python distribution that you installed, and we need to shift to change directory to where we want to go to play with Python, and this is for me in D, and then I need to use the command called cd change directory, then demo, to switch into this directory right here. And right now inside here we are actually here in Explorer, right? We can see that by taking dir directory there, right? And you can see listed the contents of this particular folder, like demo, demo dicts, and so on. It's basically everything with a few additional stuff, like point means just this location, and point means the location above. Like if I want to go back to D, I do change directory ... boop, and now I'm in D, not in demo anymore. There will show me something else, right? Anyway, we're going back now. Cd demo, and I'm kind of bothered by all of this stuff. Let me discreetly change it. Alright, and from here I have prepared a small thing that I will edit in Notepad. This, not the module Py, but the program example, and we'll do a small hello world inside here. So this is just a notepad. It's a little bit fancier than the standard Windows notepad, and I've prepared here a mini program where I have two variables. A is equal to 5, B is equal to 6, and because hello world is sort of a standard, hello world, I will print here the value of the sum of those two variables. This is what the program does. It's pretty simple. Alright, I saved it. You can assume I just wrote it right now, right? I can close this stuff, go out. Right, and now I want to execute it. Execute that program. For that I could call Python, and then the program was called this, program example, Py, bloop. And there you go, the expected output, hello world, 11. So this is how you run a program in Python, so the program mode. You can also run Python interactively by just calling the interpreter. By the way, you can check the version, for instance, like so, version. And you see I am a little bit more old school than you guys. You should have 3.8 right now. Anyway, Python, I'm calling it. And now what happens is the interactive mode just got opened up. Right now I can execute Python code. Let's execute the same for consistency. A is equal to 5, B is equal to 5, almost the same. And then print boop, hello world, and I want that sum in there again, like A plus b, this time it should be 10. Hello world, 10. Multiverse theory here. Anyway, so you basically can define lines of code, statements, and execute them bit by bit like this and construct stuff. And if you want to check something quickly, this is a good idea. You can exit this interface by typing quit. It's a function call. We'll get to that later. And that's that. And now we're getting to what we're actually interested in, namely the Jupyter notebook. Right. So you move into the folder that you like. Yeah, for me it was demo here, using cd, and then you call Jupyter Notebook, and you will have a browser open, and within that browser the contents of the folder that you're in. All right. And now we'll go like the hello world Jupyter Notebook. This is the thing that you see too on Moodle. And this is how a notebook looks like, right? So you have, this is split into what are called cells. This would be one cell. You can select the next one, which is hovering with the mouse and clicking on it. One, second cell, third cell, fourth cell, fifth cell, and so on and so forth. There are two types of cell. This one is Markdown. If you double click inside it, you'll see the actual contents. It's like a hybrid between HTML and plain text, this thing. It's a little bit simpler, and you have very diverse elements. Like with hashtag, you have headings defined. You can define bullet list by this asterisk thing. You can add images like you can see here, or links like you can see here, right? And if you double click inside this cells here, you can see how to define these elements. Then if you press Shift Enter, you will see the output of that markdown. Similarly for code cells, you can type code in here. Let's switch this to 7 to 8. 5 plus 8 is 13, right? So this would be Hello Jupyter 13 right now. Bam, Hello Jupyter 13. So the same idea, but this time you type actual Python code in here. This is a comment that gets disconsidered, disregarded, and then your statements, 3 statements here, A5, B8, and then print something. And then if you want to execute this, similarly to here, double click inside, boop, and then Shift Enter, and you execute the cell. I pressed it twice. Shift Enter again, execute the cell. Now you can execute these cells in any order that you wish. Say this 3, this should be 4 right now. If I executed 4, you see the order in which everything got executed. Now I want to execute this one. This one just prints some details about my Python version. Like this is where the thing is on my computer. In my case, it's programmed at Anaconda 3 Python exe. Depends where you installed it. It will be different for you guys. And the version. Bloop, 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 bloop. And for this, I imported something called sys. We'll get to all of these details later during the tutorial. Right. But for now, just order in which you execute these things. And the beauty of this is actually this combination between this, the markdown, and the code cells, because you can basically document every bit of your code, and you can do that in a very rich format like so, with pictures and charts and everything, which is awesome for analytics purposes, because you are between your customers and programmers somehow. You need to be more eloquent about both your code and the business side of things, for supply chain analytics. Right. So this is what you'll be working with. Executing cells, like I said, Alt Enter. You should explore the context menu around here. You can rename the file using rename here. Make a copy, save thing under a different name. Cut copy cells, all possible things. This, if I want to delete this, I would just cut it away. You can also paste it afterwards, like and you edit, paste cells below, boom, and they go back. And then these bits are potentially more interesting, like this is the kernel. Python 3 right now is behind these cells that you can execute, and you can restart and run everything, clear output, and then you should be careful with these cells, but there'll be a later cautionary too, because only the things that you executed are visible. If I put a C here, C is equal to 4, and I expect C to be here, it won't be. Print C. I get an error, but here, execute this, and now that and C is there, is visible. So the sequence in which you execute these cells counts, and you can get bad mistakes at points. So try to execute them in sequence if possible. Yeah. Anyway, pretty cool thing, and you'll get used to it bit by bit. Execution, Shift Enter. You have some shortcuts here, like Shift Enter for execution, and Control Enter, and Alt, and blah blah blah. And then you should go on your own and explore what this thing can do. Clear all output. This is also kind of nice. Restart and clear all output. When you restart it, everything that was saved gets cleared basically, and now you can start over. And then you have the first execution thing. Again, that mistake. Now it's just a Control X. Right. Okay, this would be it. This is what I wanted to show you for today. I hope you'll have a lot of fun during this semester with us, and it will be a rewarding experience to learn everything. Thank you very much.